Elena Reeves stood frozen on the doorstep of the house she had abandoned a decade ago, her trembling finger hovering over the doorbell. The porch had been repainted, forest green instead of the faded blue she remembered, and terracotta pots filled with thriving plants flanked the entrance where empty milk crates once stood. A basketball hoop now crowned the driveway, and through the front window she glimpsed a living room transformed by furniture she didn't recognize. Her stomach clenched as she finally pressed the bell, its unfamiliar chime echoing inside. 10 years, 10 birthdays, 10 Christmases, 10 first days of school, all sacrificed in what she had convinced herself was an act of necessary escape. The door swung open, and Elena's carefully rehearsed speech dissolved on her tongue. The teenage boy standing before her, nearly a man now, was unmistakably Liam, her firstborn, though he stood nearly a foot taller than when she'd last seen him. His eyes, so like her own, widened in recognition before hardening into something she had never seen there before: complete and utter indifference. "Can I help you?" Liam asked, his voice deeper than she expected, a stranger's voice. Before Elena could answer, a girl appeared beside him, Zoe, her daughter, now a teenager with hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, no longer the little girl with mismatched barrettes. "Who is it?" Zoe asked, then froze, her hand gripping the door frame. Behind them, movement caught Elena's eye. A man approached, Marcus, her husband, though that word felt foreign now. The lines around his eyes had deepened, silver threaded his temples, but he carried himself with a quiet confidence she didn't remember. He placed protective hands on the children's shoulders. "Elena," he said simply, neither a question nor a greeting. "Before we continue, comment from where you are watching from." 10 years earlier, Marcus Reeves woke to silence. The house was never silent, not with 5 children under one roof. He reached across the bed, finding empty space where Elena should have been. Not unusual, she often rose before him to start breakfast. But something felt different. The silence was too complete, too hollow. He found the note on the kitchen counter, Elena's handwriting unmistakable. "I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore." 7 words. 7 words to end 12 years of marriage. 7 words to abandon 5 children. Marcus read the note 3 times, certain he'd missed something, an explanation, a promise to return, anything that made sense of this. But there was nothing else. Just those 7 words and the deafening silence of a house with one less heartbeat. He checked the closet. Half empty. The bathroom, her toothbrush gone. The driveway, her car missing. He stood in the kitchen, the note crumpled in his fist as reality crashed over him in waves. Liam would be up soon, asking for breakfast. 7-year-old Zoe needed her hair braided for school. Aiden's science project was due. Sophia had a doctor's appointment at 10. Noah, just 3, would cry for his mother. His phone lay on the counter. He should call someone. Her parents, her friends, the police. But who do you call when your wife vanishes voluntarily? Who do you blame when she chooses to leave? "Dad?" Liam stood in the doorway, pajama pants too short at the ankles. "Where's Mom?" Marcus stared at his oldest son, 10 years old and already so perceptive. What could he say? What words could possibly explain? "She had to go away for a bit," he heard himself say. "When will she be back?" "I'm not sure, buddy." The lie tasted bitter on his tongue. But how do you tell a child that their mother left without saying goodbye? That she walked out on all of them without explanation? His mind raced as he moved through the motions of breakfast, pouring cereal, slicing bananas, brewing coffee he'd never finish. Each movement felt mechanical, disconnected from his body. The other children trickled into the kitchen, sleepy-eyed and innocent. "Where's Mommy?" Aiden asked, climbing onto his chair. "She had to go somewhere," Liam answered before Marcus could, shooting his father a look that broke his heart. Even at 10, Liam understood something was terribly wrong. "Will she be back for my doctor?" Sophia asked, ketchup smearing her cheek. "I'll take you," Marcus said. "But Mommy always takes me," she insisted. Marcus felt something crack inside him. "I know, sweetheart, but today it'll be me." Noah began to cry from his high chair, a low wail that seemed to give voice to the ache spreading through Marcus's chest. That first day passed in a blur. He called in sick to work, dropped the older children at school with forced smiles and promises everything was fine, took Sophia to her appointment where the doctor gave him pitying looks, changed Noah's diapers with clumsy fingers, and between every task he called Elena's cell phone, each call going straight to voicemail. By evening, when no call had been returned, he faced the truth he'd been avoiding all day. She wasn't coming back. Not today. Maybe not ever. After the children were finally asleep, Marcus sat alone at the kitchen table. Unpaid bills stacked beside him. A calendar crowded with appointments and commitments designed for two parents to manage. 5 children depending on him for everything. He buried his face in his hands and allowed himself exactly 5 minutes to fall apart. 5 minutes of silent tears and raw anger. 5 minutes to mourn the life he thought they were building. Then he straightened, wiped his face, and opened the bills. Raymond called from the construction site the next morning. "Where are you, Reeves?" "We're short-handed already." "Family emergency," Marcus said, watching Noah smear oatmeal across his high chair. "My wife is gone. I need a few days." Silence then. "Gone? What do you mean, gone?" "She left, yesterday. Didn't say where, didn't say why." Another pause. "Jesus, Marcus, the kids. They're with me. I don't know. They keep asking for her." "Take the week," Raymond said. "But Marcus, we're in the middle of the Henderson project. I can't hold your position indefinitely." "I know, I'll figure something out." But as he hung up, Marcus had no idea what that something might be. His job as a construction foreman paid well, but required long hours and physical presence. Elena had worked part-time as a bookkeeper, arranging her schedule around the children. Childcare for 5 kids would cost more than he made. That afternoon, he met with Liam's teacher, Mrs. Patel. Her eyes softened with sympathy as he explained the situation. "Liam's a remarkable boy," she said, "but this will be hard on him, on all of them." "Children are resilient," Mrs. Patel continued, "but they need stability, consistency, a routine they can count on." Marcus nodded, making mental notes. Stability, consistency, routine, things that had vanished overnight. On day 3, reality hit harder. The school called. Zoe had a fever. The babysitter he'd hastily hired for Noah and Sophia quit, claiming Noah was too clingy. The refrigerator stood nearly empty, and still no word from Elena. By the end of the first week, Marcus had lost 7 pounds, slept a total of 19 hours, and developed a twitch in his left eye. The children spiraled in their own ways. Liam grew eerily responsible, getting his siblings dressed each morning. Zoe stopped speaking entirely for 2 days. Aiden had a meltdown when his socks didn't match exactly. Sophia developed a habit of hiding her toys, afraid they too might disappear. And Noah woke screaming for his mother every night. Marcus realized he needed help. Not just babysitters or daycare, he needed a system. "I don't know how to do this," he admitted to Tessa, their neighbor, a retired teacher who'd been dropping off casseroles. 5 kids. My job. This house. I can't." "Nobody expects you to know," Tessa said gently, "but you'll learn. And you're not alone." That conversation became a turning point. Marcus created a whiteboard system for the kitchen wall, color-coded schedules, chore assignments, even for the youngest. He found an affordable daycare that would take both Noah and Sophia. He arranged with Raymond to adjust his hours, starting earlier so he could pick the kids up from school. Money became the next mountain. Elena's income was gone, and Marcus's salary barely covered the mortgage. He sold his motorcycle first, then his collection of vintage tools. He learned to coupon, to shop sales, to make meals that could stretch for days. 2 months after Elena left, Marcus met with a lawyer. "You need to establish legal custody," the lawyer advised. "If she returns unexpectedly, you could face complications." "She wouldn't just take them," Marcus said, but even as the words left his mouth, he wasn't sure. The woman who abandoned 5 children without explanation was a stranger to him. The lawyer gave him a steady look. People do unexpected things when they're desperate. Protect yourself. Protect them. Marcus filed for divorce and full custody the next day. Elena never responded to the legal notices. 6 months after she walked out, the court granted Marcus's requests. The divorce was finalized. The children were legally his. It should have felt like a victory. Instead, it felt like the official end of a dream, the dream of their family as it once was. "You should start dating again," Raymond told him 1 year after Elena left. They were at the construction site, checking blueprints during lunch break. Marcus laughed, the sound rusty from disuse. "Right, because women are lining up to date a guy with 5 kids and permanent dark circles. My sister-in-law's divorced. No kids. Nice lady." Marcus shook his head. "I barely have time to shower, Raymond. Dating isn't even on my radar." But the truth was more complicated. It wasn't just time. It was trust. Elena's abandonment had broken something fundamental in him. The idea of letting someone else in, of creating another vulnerability for his children, seemed impossible. Instead, Marcus poured everything into his family and his work. He learned to braid hair and sew costume patches. He memorized which vegetables each child would eat without complaint and which would cause rebellion. He became the keeper of lost teeth and bad dreams, of school projects and soccer practices. The children changed too. Liam grew serious, his childhood compressed into something briefer than it should have been. At 12, he was already helping with homework, already thinking about how to ease his father's burden. "You don't have to do so much," Marcus told him one night, finding him folding laundry well past bedtime. "Someone has to," Liam replied. The words haunted Marcus. Someone has to. The mantra of children who grow up too soon. By the 3rd year, they had found their rhythm. The house ran on systems and shorthand, on knowing glances and unspoken agreements. They weren't just surviving anymore, they were functioning. Some days, they even thrived. Marcus received a promotion at work, project manager with better hours and better pay. The timing felt like a gift. Liam was starting high school, Zoe needed braces, and the younger 3 were growing through clothes at an alarming rate. On a rare free weekend, Marcus decided it was time for something new. "We're painting the living room," he announced at breakfast. 5 pairs of eyes stared at him. "What color?" Zoe asked. "You tell me. Each of you picks a wall." It was chaos. Glorious, paint-splattered chaos. Liam chose forest green, Zoe a sunny yellow, Aiden bright blue, Sophia lavender, and Noah. Well, Noah's wall ended up a patchwork of whatever colors were left. The result was hideous, mismatched, completely impractical. Marcus loved it. "This," he told them as they stood back to admire their work, "is our house now. We make the rules." That night, after the younger ones were asleep, Liam sat with Marcus on the porch steps. "Do you think she'll ever come back?" he asked, the question hanging in the cool night air. Marcus considered lying, considered soft reassurances, but Liam deserved better. "I don't know, buddy, but either way, we're okay. We've got this." Liam nodded slowly. "Yeah, we do." It was the first time in 3 years that Marcus believed it completely. They were okay, different, scarred, but okay. 5 years passed, then 7, then 10. Noah barely remembered Elena, just fragments like the scent of her perfume or the sound of her laugh. Sophia recalled more, but the memories had a dreamlike quality, softened by time. Aiden spoke of her rarely, as if she were a story someone had told him rather than his own mother. Zoe remembered most clearly, her anger preserved like an insect in amber, unchanged while she grew around it. And Liam remembered everything, carried it like stones in his pockets, present but hidden. Marcus watched them grow with a fierce pride that sometimes felt like pain. Liam earned a scholarship to State College. Zoe became captain of the debate team. Aiden discovered a talent for art that transformed their refrigerator door into a gallery. Sophia played soccer with a determination that left Marcus breathless. And Noah, sweet Noah, grew into a boy whose laugh could illuminate the darkest rooms. They were no longer defined by absence. They were defined by what they had built together. Then came the letter. It arrived on a Tuesday, ordinary as dirt. No return address, but Marcus recognized the handwriting immediately. His hands trembled as he set it on the kitchen counter, unopened. 10 years. 10 years of building something from nothing. 10 years of becoming a family on their own terms. He stared at the envelope as the afternoon light shifted across it. Whatever it contained couldn't change what they'd become, but it could disrupt what they'd built. That evening, after dinner, Marcus finally opened the letter. The children were scattered throughout the house: homework, video games, phone calls with friends. Normal Tuesday activities in a life Elena knew nothing about. Marcus, I don't know how to begin this letter. I've started it 100 times over the years. I know I have no right to reach out after so long, but I'm hoping you'll read this through. I've been in therapy for 3 years now. My counselor says I need to make amends, but this is more than that. I want to see them, our children. I want to explain face to face why I left. I was sick, Marcus. Not physically, mentally. The doctors now say it was severe postpartum depression after Noah, never treated, that spiraled into something darker. I couldn't feel anything except overwhelming dread. I convinced myself you'd all be better without me. I was wrong, so terribly wrong. I've built a stable life now. I work at an accounting firm in Westbrook. I have a small apartment. I've been sober for 4 years. I'm not asking to disrupt your lives. I just want to see them. Even once. To apologize in person. To answer the questions I know they must have. My number is below. I understand if you don't call. Elena. Marcus folded the letter carefully along its creases. Postpartum depression. Mental illness. Sobriety. Words that explained but didn't excuse. Words that came 10 years too late. He tucked the letter into his pocket and went to find Liam, who was home from college for spring break. "Can we talk?" Marcus asked, tapping on the doorframe of Liam's old room. Liam looked up from his laptop. At 20, he had Elena's eyes and Marcus's steady calm. "What's up?" Marcus sat on the edge of the bed, choosing his words carefully. "I got a letter today. From your mother." Liam's expression didn't change, but his posture stiffened. "What did she want?" "To see you. All of you. To explain why she left." "After 10 years?" Liam closed his laptop. "That's convenient. She says she was sick, depression, addiction. And that makes it okay?" A flash of anger, quickly contained. "No," Marcus said firmly, "it doesn't make it okay. Nothing makes abandoning your children okay, but it might help you understand." Liam was quiet for a long moment. "Have you told the others?" "Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first." "Zoe will explode," Liam predicted. "Aiden might be curious. Sophia barely remembers her. And Noah. Noah has photographs, that's all." They sat in silence, the weight of the past pressing down between them. "What do you think I should do?" Marcus finally asked. Liam looked surprised. "You're asking me?" "You're an adult now, and this affects all of you more than it affects me." Liam considered this. "I think we should know. All of us. Then decide together." Marcus nodded, a surge of pride cutting through his uncertainty. Liam had grown into a thoughtful young man, fair-minded even when it was difficult. That night, Marcus called a family meeting. They gathered in the living room with its mismatched walls, now layered with a decade of family photos and memories Elena had never been part of. One by one, he watched their expressions change as he explained. Zoe's face flushed with anger. Aiden looked down at his hands. Sophia bit her lip. Noah, now 13, seemed more confused than anything else. "She just wants to see us?" Zoe demanded. "After 10 years of nothing? Not even a birthday card?" "That's what she says," Marcus answered. "What if we don't want to see her?" Aiden asked quietly. "Then you don't have to," Marcus assured him. "This is your choice. Each of you gets to decide for yourselves." "I want to," Noah said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. "I don't remember her. Not really. I want to see her face." Sophia nodded slowly. Me too. I have questions. She doesn't deserve answers, Zoe muttered. Maybe not, Marcus agreed, but you deserve to ask your questions if you want to. They debated late into the night. Voices raised, tears shed, old wounds reopened. Marcus moderated without judgment, letting them express everything they'd held inside for years. By midnight, they had reached a consensus. They would meet Elena, all of them, together. One meeting, a neutral location. After that, each would decide individually if they wanted further contact. The next morning, Marcus called the number from Elena's letter. "It's me," he said when she answered, her voice so familiar yet strange. "Marcus?" She sounded breathless. "I didn't think you'd call." "This isn't about you and me," he said firmly. "It's about the kids. They've agreed to meet you. Once, Saturday at Riverfront Park, noon. If you're serious about this, be there." "I will," she promised. "Thank you. I know I don't deserve." "You're right," he interrupted. "You don't, but they deserve closure. That's why I'm calling." After hanging up, Marcus sat in his truck for a long time. 10 years ago, he'd imagined this moment differently. Rage, accusations, vindication. But the man he'd become felt only a dull ache, like pressing on an old bruise. The days before Saturday crawled by. The younger children grew anxious, asking questions Marcus couldn't answer. Zoe retreated into cold silence. Liam watched everyone, offering quiet support where needed. Marcus found Sophia trying on different outfits the night before. "Which one looks better?" she asked, holding up 2 nearly identical sweaters. "They're both nice," he said, his heart breaking a little. "She'll think you're beautiful no matter what you wear." "Will she?" Sophia's voice was small. "She left when I was 4. Maybe she didn't think I was good enough." Marcus crossed the room and knelt before her. "Listen to me. Her leaving had nothing to do with you being good enough. Nothing. It was about her problems, not about you." Sophia nodded but didn't look convinced. Down the hall, Noah was poring over old photo albums. "Do I look like her?" he asked when Marcus checked on him. "Your smile," Marcus said truthfully. "You have her smile." Noah traced a finger over Elena's face in a faded photograph. Was she nice? Before she left? The question caught Marcus off guard. She was complicated, but yes, she could be very kind. Then why did she go? Marcus sat beside him on the bed. Sometimes adults make terrible mistakes. Sometimes they're hurting so badly they can't see how their actions will hurt others. It doesn't make it right, but that's what happened. Noah closed the album. "I'm not mad at her," he said simply. "I just want to know her." Marcus pulled him close, wishing he could protect them all from what tomorrow might bring. Saturday dawned clear and cool. The tension in the house was palpable as they prepared to leave. Liam drove his own car, giving everyone an escape route if needed. Marcus loaded the others into the family SUV, checking and rechecking that everyone was okay. "Remember," he told them as they pulled into the park, "you can leave any time. Just say the word." She was already there, sitting at a picnic table near the duck pond. Thinner than Marcus remembered, her hair shorter, streaked with premature gray. She stood as they approached, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. For a moment, no one moved. 10 years of absence crystallized into a single, breathless second. Then Noah stepped forward, curious rather than afraid. "I'm Noah," he said, as if she might not know. Elena's eyes filled with tears. "Yes," she whispered, "you're Noah." She looked at each of them in turn, visibly struggling to reconcile the children she'd left with the people standing before her. Sophia, now 14, tall and athletic. Aiden, 16, with artistic hands and watchful eyes. Zoe, 18, arms crossed defensively. Liam, 20, a man now, with no trace of the boy she'd abandoned. "Thank you for coming," Elena said finally. "All of you." They settled awkwardly around the picnic table. Marcus positioned himself at the end, close enough to intervene if needed, but giving them space for their own reactions. I don't know where to begin, Elena admitted. How about why you left? Zoe's voice was sharp. Why you never called, not once in 10 years. Elena nodded, accepting the anger. I was sick, she began. After Noah was born, I fell into a depression that kept getting worse. I felt disconnected, like I was watching my life through a window. I started drinking to numb the panic attacks. She described her downward spiral, the hopelessness, the conviction that they would be better without her, the shame that kept her away even after she realized her mistake. I convinced myself you had all moved on, that coming back would only disrupt your lives again. We did move on, Liam said quietly. We had to. Elena looked at Marcus then, really looked at him. You did an amazing job with them. I didn't have a choice, he replied, not unkindly. Dad built us, Noah said suddenly. When you left, he built us into a family again. Sophia nodded. He learned to French braid and make Halloween costumes. He never missed a soccer game. Not one. He worked 2 jobs when Liam needed braces, Aiden added. He taught Zoe to drive. He did everything, Zoe finished, her voice breaking slightly. Everything you were supposed to help with? Elena absorbed their words, each one landing like a physical blow. I'm so sorry, she said, tears flowing freely now. I know that's not enough, but I am truly sorry. Why now? Liam asked. After 10 years, why reach out now? Elena hesitated, then decided on complete honesty. My therapist encouraged me to make amends. And yes, I'm struggling financially. My roommate moved out, and I'm having trouble making rent. But that's not why I'm here. I needed to see you, to tell you it wasn't your fault. They talked for nearly 2 hours. The younger children asked questions about their early years, memories Elena could provide that they'd never had access to. Zoe remained mostly silent, watching. Liam asked pointed questions about Elena's sobriety, her stability, her intentions. Marcus observed the interaction with mixed emotions. Relief that the children were getting answers, sadness for the years that couldn't be recovered, anger that still flared occasionally, and underneath it all, a quiet pride in the family they had become without her. As the conversation began to wind down, Elena looked at Marcus again. Can I ask what you've done? Professionally, I mean. The house looks different. You all seem comfortable. We are, Marcus confirmed. I'm a project manager now. Full benefits, good salary. We've managed. What he didn't say was how hard they'd fought for that stability. The years of scraping by, the exhaustion, the moments he'd nearly broken under the pressure. I'm glad, Elena said softly. An uncomfortable silence fell over the table. Marcus checked his watch. We should probably wrap this up. Noah has baseball practice at 3. Elena nodded quickly. Of course. She hesitated, then added, I'd like to see you all again. If you're willing. Not to intrude on your lives. Just to know you. The children exchanged glances. Marcus recognized the silent communication, a family language Elena couldn't read. That's something each of them will decide individually, Marcus said firmly. No pressure either way. Elena accepted this with a nod. As they stood to leave, she reached into her purse and pulled out 5 envelopes. I wrote each of you a letter. Things I couldn't say in person. You don't have to read them now, or ever, but they're yours. One by one, the children accepted the envelopes. Noah gave her an awkward half-hug. Sophia shook her hand formally. Aiden nodded a goodbye. Zoe took the envelope without meeting Elena's eyes. Liam was the last. I'm glad you're doing better, he told her, his voice neutral. Really? Thank you, Elena whispered. That means more than you know. As they walked back to their cars, Marcus hung back slightly. Elena approached him cautiously. Thank you, she said, for raising them, for bringing them today. Marcus looked at her, this woman who had once been the center of his world. He felt no love, no hate, just a distant recognition. I didn't do it for you, he said quietly. I did it for them. They deserved answers. I know, and they deserved better than what I gave them. Marcus nodded, then said what he'd realized during their conversation. We're not the family you left, Elena. We're something different now. Something stronger. I can see that, she admitted. I need you to understand something, Marcus continued. If you're going to be in their lives, any of their lives, it has to be reliable, consistent. They've had enough disappointment. I understand. And one more thing. Marcus met her eyes directly. They're legally mine now. All 5 of them. I adopted them after the divorce. I've set up college funds, insurance policies, everything to secure their future. That doesn't change, regardless of your involvement. Elena looked stunned. You adopted them? All of them? Yes. They needed to know they couldn't be taken away, that they belonged somewhere permanently. She absorbed this information slowly, the full weight of what Marcus had built in her absence finally sinking in. You're a good father, she said finally. Yes, Marcus agreed simply. I am. Epilogue. 3 months after their meeting at the park, life had found a new rhythm. Noah and Sophia occasionally met Elena for ice cream or a movie. Aiden had coffee with her once, showing her his sketchbook. Zoe maintained her distance, though she had finally opened her letter. Liam spoke to Elena on the phone every few weeks, keeping her at arm's length but not shutting the door completely. Marcus saw her only when necessary, drop-offs and pickups for the younger children's visits. They were cordial, if not friendly. The anger had faded, replaced by a practical acceptance of their new reality. On a warm summer evening, Marcus sat on the porch watching Noah practice pitching in the front yard. Inside, the sounds of family life continued. Sophia's music, Aiden's laughter, the occasional slam of a door as Zoe came and went with friends. Liam was back at college, thriving. His phone buzzed with a text from Liam. Professor loved my psychology paper, said my insights on family resilience were uncommonly mature. Marcus smiled, typing back, because you lived it. Proud of you. He put his phone away and looked out at the life they'd built. Not perfect, not unscathed, but whole in its own way. The wounds of abandonment had scarred over, becoming part of their story rather than defining it. Elena's return hadn't shattered what they'd become. If anything, it had affirmed it. They weren't a family broken by absence, but one forged by presence, by showing up day after day through hardship and joy. Marcus called Noah in for dinner. As his son jogged toward him, all gangly limbs and easy smile, Marcus felt the familiar surge of gratitude. This was what mattered. Not the past they couldn't change, but the future they continued to build together. One choice at a time. One day at a time. One family, defined not by who had left, but by who had stayed. Please do comment your feedback and subscribe to our channel for more unexpected stories. Remember, it's never too late to change your story.